How do you travel? Oops, I forgot my toothpaste. And so I'm getting out of the car and I shut the front door, and I start walking towards the castle. And all of a sudden it goes ding, ding, ding. I was like, wait a second, what's going on? Oh, it says you have something in the back seat. And I was like, wow, yeah, that something is my backpack with my laptop in it and some things that I would need for this event. So it was a really value add. Well, I started connecting the dots going, man, when I lived in Arizona and it was 125-degree weather, one time I left a candle in the back seat. How cool would that have been if it went ding, ding? I would have saved the back seat that day, or the Coke can in the back seat one day too. So that's a interesting hack, because what I would encourage you to do is you need to start building relationships with people outside of the car lot. And so what I mean by that is, imagine that GMC example or whatever car it is you're selling, and they have new features like that nobody knows about. And so if you were to just take 60 to 90 seconds, record it and go, hey, check this out. Imagine if you left a Coke can in the back and it's 120-degree weather, or you're in the mountains and it's -10 and it freezes and it blows up. Or God forbid, you're in Arizona and you leave your dog in the back and it's 120-degree weather, right? Depending on your environment, you want to point out those features, record them, and then push them out to places like Instagram. Instagram's great for this, and start providing value and building trust before they ever come and meet you, just by showing the latest and greatest things that nobody else knows about. So when David and I were preparing for this conversation, we saw YouTube videos that were 20 minutes long. Well, sure, for the car enthusiast that cares about the Audi S4 that I have, I might watch that from cover to cover. But for most people, 60 seconds to 2 minutes would be more than enough to just point out those new capabilities, and then start building an audience, start dripping this through Instagram and Facebook and other channels, YouTube, et cetera.
Well, you wind up making yourself stand out, first of all, by doing that. You make yourself different than the rest. Why should I go? I mean, how many Land Rover dealers? Maybe not as many as a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, but there's still more than one in your area, right? And if there's somebody there that, hey, this person is really, they're on the ball, and I like how they're showing me these different things, and it just kind of feels good. You're going to be more apt to go and talk to that person. People deal with and buy from people they like and trust and they feel comfortable with. And it's been proven that, if you see someone on a video enough times, you're going to kind of get a feel for them. And if you feel comfortable with them, you're partway there before you even talk to them, if you're going to be doing some kind of transaction, because they feel that in a way they do. They know you a little bit, where they're just, instead of just a total stranger.
It's just like someone on the news that you've watched for 5 years and you feel like you know the person, right? If you happen to be at a mall or in a restaurant and you see, Mike Landis was the guy at 9 News for many, many years. And I saw him at a nice restaurant about a year ago, the Chart House up in the mountains. And now he's approachable because I feel like I already know him. So, Hey, Mike, good to see you again. You actually went to my church for a year and I always saw you speak and you were kind of amazing. And big fan of yours when you were on 9 News. Totally approachable. So if you start I get approached in airports now, people, oh, you're Chad, huh? I'm like, yeah. Because I put out enough videos that people start seeing them. And then you never know when somebody's going to say, oh, if you're buying a car, you should go, Chad really knows what he's talking about when it's coming to all the cars that company sells.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's huge.
What would you say strategies that are coming back to sales?
Well, the big one, and I think, it requires no introduction and no punchline here, is physical mailers. I mean, there's so much digital now that it just gets drowned, right? You do an email blast just like that. I have a work email, chat@scalex.ai. And then I put in Chad Burmeister at yahoo.com is what I filled out for the auto visits. Guess what? I get 185 emails in my Yahoo every day, and 180 of them I'll never read.
Right.
So I have to like go manually look and pick through that one. So if you think about that, that's going on. Well, how do you get, what can you do? Well, one, SMS, that's big. So when you do this video that I talked about, hey, glad you came to the lot, send them through an SMS. Don't send it to their Yahoo address, because it might get buried just like mine. Even my mother sends me messages there. She's like, didn't you see the invite to Thanksgiving? It's at your house. I'm like, oh, did you send it to Yahoo or did you send it to ScaleX? Oh, I forgot. I got to send it to your business one.
Right.
So physical mail, SMS, if you're going to do digital, LinkedIn's a good outreach channel. People are still reading because they're only getting 2 or 3 LinkedIn messages a day. But literally mailers. There's a guy named Stu Heineck. He wrote a book called How to Get a Meeting with Anyone, and another book called Get the Meeting. What he's doing is sending out, he's a Wall Street Journal artist. And so he builds a cartoon that's kind of comic in nature, right? So I know in our talks, you do a lot of very creative concepts, and I'm very interested for your audience to dig in. Question number 3 is going to be what's reusable mail, but I'm going to leave that as the punchline.
All right. One of the questions you asked, why is it still prevalent? Mail is still, according to the DMA, which is Direct Marketing Association, they do studies all the time, and mail is still number 1 as far as response. Now, you just can't put something in the mail, throw something on a postcard or in an envelope and expect it to be good. It has to be done right, which is why we say, why mail wrong when you can mail right.
Right.
But, and also right now, because except for the political mail, right now, do not mail a postcard until election's over. Don't use a postcard. Don't mail a postcard. You will be lost. Found it out the hard way many years ago. Except for the political mail right now, when that dies down in a few weeks, I'm sure everyone's noticed, you go to your mailbox, there's not a lot there. It's gone quiet. And now that gives you a perfect opportunity to go after something where you're not with a bunch of other things in there, right? There's less of you and you're tangible. One of the things that we've noticed, it kind of surprised us, Pitney Bowes did and as far as, if you're not sure who Pitney Bowes is, most people are, but that's the one where you run if you especially have an office, that's the one that does the meter for your letters. And so they did a study recently about millennials, because everybody thinks millennials will never use mail and it's going to die and everything else. And they found that the majority of millennials like mail. And the thing I think about that is, if you look at, like, say, vinyl records are coming back, right? And it's different. They've never seen it or experienced it. Everything to them is digital. Well, this is something tactile. And one of the things the study found out was it's more believable to them when they're holding it, it's tangible. It's like, oh, well, that means that's what it is, instead of an email where you just go delete. So again, you have to do it correctly, but millennials are a much bigger market than people realize now.
Yeah, 100%. And for those who don't know David, I thought this might be a good time to kind of reintroduce David at this point in the call. So David, literally, the way I found him is that he is the direct mail guru in the marketplace. Hands down, no doubt about it. So you heard him say, don't mail wrong, mail right. He's the CEO of Mail-Rite International, which is a cutting edge direct mail, email, and social advertising company. So it's not just a one-trick pony, let's just do mail, but also email, social, all of the above, and helps coordinate customers to help them build literally billions of dollars in auto sales. So he's the guy who's been doing this for longer than most of us and knows a thing or two about a thing or two. Like, think about the sending of the letters, right? He would tell you right now, don't send a postcard because it'll just get buried in everything else. You could have spent $5,000-$10,000 more than that, and oops, wrong time, wrong medium. Yeah. So I think David helps you avoid problems and helps you stay on the cutting edge to get the responses that you're looking for. He also wrote a best-selling book called The $100 Million Playbook and Direct Mail for Business book. So if you're looking to drive more customers and more traffic to your floor, then there's no other better place. We did a partnership once. This was 10 years ago with a dealership, and it was interesting. This company would actually go into dealerships and help them. They'd say, hey, what if we could sell all 150 cars on your lot within a weekend?
Please go to part 3, the conclusion of AI dealer hacks that drive more car sales on It's the Car Business.